So this is something that I have been wanting to talk about for a long while now. For those of you guys that don't know, I am a law of assumption manifestation coach, and I have been talking about law of assumption on my YouTube channel for about the past 3 years. For those of you guys who don't know what the concept of law of assumption is, it is basically understanding that your assumptions about yourself are creating the world and reality that you live in around you. So it's been very liberating and eye-opening to live my life around this law and consciously applying it, to say the least. My life from 2020 to now has done a complete 180, not just in materializations, but in the way that I live, carry myself, see myself, especially in proximity to the world around me. Now, I just had a client and she said something that I don't know if I have been able to put into words. It's been a lingering thought in my mind for a while, but I've never really known how to, captivate it and put it into words myself. But much like me, she was also a fat Black femme. And she was saying to me that she has come to the realization and understanding that her feelings and thoughts about her body don't align with, obviously, the way the world talks about her body. And it kind of hurts her because she sees other women who live in her body who co-sign these narratives, especially when it comes to being plus size. And I know that we all have our experience around that, but it really invoked something in me because, like I said, me consciously applying this law and doing this mindset work, it has liberated me from a lot of the narratives that I was carrying as my own property. I had to come to the realization and understand that a lot of the beliefs I had about my own body and existence were not my beliefs. And that doesn't even just pertain to that part of my existence, but just all of the beliefs that I had that I thought were mine were force fed to me. And that is what led me to divorce them. I started to understand and realize I never sat down on my own accord and decided for myself that I am now going to start deeming my body as ugly or undesirable or unwanted. Those were all narratives that were force fed to me. I was growing up and I didn't think that anything was wrong with the way that I looked until I left the house. And when I started having those realizations and understandings, I became angry. I became very angry. And honestly, that anger led me to divorce these narratives because I started understanding I'm not even living my life based off of my own rules and my own gospel, my own perspective. I am letting the world around me decide what is real in my story for me. How is that fair to me? How is that fair to my own existence? I got so tired of continuously fighting this battle and essentially fighting a monster that isn't there to begin with. It's just like when we all grew up and understood there is no boogeyman under the bed. Obviously, it took some time for me to understand this and really digest it. But now that I'm here, I'm never going back. And it's so easy for me now to only invest and buy into my own thoughts and beliefs about myself as it pertains to money, as it pertains to my appearance, as it pertains to romantic relationships. I have to cultivate my own beliefs and decide what is true for me. I cannot continue to live my life based off of pre-decided factors that I didn't get a say in. That is essentially me treating myself like I'm a side character in my own reality. And that's just not going to cut it. So when she said this to me, I felt very seen and very liberated. And it was a very good, fulfilling conversation for us to have because I could tell that it was a conversation that she needed to have. Shout out to her for booking me. Like I love my clients so much, but it's more than true. It is so true. We need to start taking control of our own narratives. When you take control of the narrative of your life, you are free. You are literally free. Now, obviously, is there bias and discrimination in this world? I don't want to sound like a pick me. I'm not trying to be a pick me. That's kind of why I feel like the nuance in this conversation is like very needed and very important. Yes, those are still a thing. Those are still there. However, when you stop feeding life to it, that is what consciousness is. When you take your consciousness away from something, when you take your awareness away from something, it ceases to exist because nothing can exist and take a life form outside of our human perspective. If I become unaware of something, I become unaffected because I am not aware. That is how I navigate. That is how I live my life. I take away my precious consciousness from anything that I don't like. I don't want to live my life feeling like I'm second fiddle, second banana. That was never my truth. I never sat down and wrote that into my own script. But what I'm pretty much trying to say is you are perfect now in every capacity, in every aspect. Do not get hoodwinked and tricked into thinking that the beliefs you were force fed as a child all the way up until now is your identity. It isn't. And it never will be. You have to create your own identity, your own reality, and live based off of those truths.